for entertainment purposes only. This is 101 Awakening. When you become awake, every documents that you are reading is now so clear to you. Whatever the service industry is trying to make it a legal document, your mind just kind of like pop. You just read it like a plain language. Every translation of the legalese become like a normal translation in your head. So this is how I'm going to walk you through how I just received a speeding ticket. I was going 54 kilometers on a 40-kilometer zone. So this is how I'm fighting my ticket, because I believe in my rights as a person. This is just my experience. It's up to you if you can resonate with it. So this is my infraction ticket that I received in the mail. It's a photograph of my car speeding on a zone area of 40 kilometers, and I was driving 54, it says. So I blocked out all the information that you don't need to see. It's my personal information. So first is the word penalty order number. In other words, if you do not comply with this penalty, we're going to put you in the pen based on this order. Pen is jail. So first of all, to be penalized, you must commit a crime that is actually harmful to anyone. Harmful. You either kill, steal something from somebody, harass somebody, or harm another human being is a penalty of the law of God. The name on the penalty letter is under your capital names found on any of your IDs, which is derived from a birth certificate. So let me go step by step and the wordings in this contract. First of all, the photograph taken by the speed enforcement system shows the motor vehicle traveling at 54 and 40. First of all, I didn't give them consent to take a picture of my private vehicle. If you notice the word, it says enforcement system shows the motor vehicle traveling at. It didn't say a person traveling at. A motor vehicle is an entity. In other words, it doesn't have a life in it. They're charging me for going at 54 kilometers on a 40-kilometer zone. The universal law is that your body, your whole body, must be seen in action in order to commit a crime that puts your life or others in danger. So for me to be traveling at 54 kilometers on a zone, they must see my body in action doing this. Am I going 40 kilometers? Am I going 50? Am I going 60? The wording is in here. It says, I believe and certify that the above contravention has been committed. There must be a burden of proof that you actually committed the crime. It cannot be a hearsay. It cannot be, oh, I believe. It has to be a factual information in order for them to charge you. If there's in doubt, you are free. Contravene means to violate or act against something that is legally prohibited or required. A breach of law, rule of agreement. Did you just hear what I said? It's an agreement. Who did you agree that to? Who did they agree that to? Did you make any contract with them to create this act and enforced to humanity? Again, you never given your consent for this agreement on you. In order for this contract to be sent to you, it must be signed by a person, an officer number here. This person is under oath when he signed this contract. In other words, it violates the law because he knows he is imposing a law that is not applicable to you as a living person. You can actually show up in court if you want, if you think you're going to win, and charge this person to pay for this ticket. Because in reality, he just signed the ticket for you. So in actual fact, he is the consignment or the co-signer of this contract. It also states in here, as the owner, you are reliable for this penalty. So if your vehicle is on a lease or with the bank, those are the owner of the vehicle because you haven't paid for it yet. So in reality, you do not have to pay for this ticket. The owner of motor vehicle must pay the administrative penalty no later than 30 days. This is the administrative penalty amount. In other words, just like your mother who's trying to give you a medicine in your mouth, they're trying to administer something to you. That doesn't mean you have to take it. If you take it, you just paid for it. So you have the options to fight it if you want, in other words. Provincial victim component, $15, and a lookup fee for $8.25. Who is the victim of the crime? There's no victim. You didn't hurt anyone. You didn't speed over someone. You didn't run over someone. So who's the victim? Why are they trying to charge you a victim component when there's no victim? The victim is you. Here's the tricky part on all this. They're trying to make you pay online, in person, in mail, in telephone. So first, they charge an entity, a vehicle, but now they're asking you as a person to pay for something you did not commit by all these different kinds of methods that they're trying to impose on you, how to pay that crime scene that you did not commit. In here, it says dispute request and appeal. An owner may request an appeal of this penalty order no later than 30 days. You see, they don't know who the person is or who the owner is because they don't know whether it's privately owned or it's owned by a lending company or it's owned by a corporation that you work for. You could go in an appeal and you will sit in front of the officer to referred to as a screening. You may be found guilty. But if you know the rules, you're never going to be found guilty if you know how to handle the law of fear and control. Again, if you read this, screening officers can confirm or cancel the penalty order, reduce the amount of the administrative penalty, or grant additional time to pay for the administrative penalty. Again, they're trying to tell you, this is just for trying to administer something to you. It doesn't mean you have to take it. And the last part, if you do not pay for it, your Ontario vehicle permit will not be renewed and a new permit will not be issued to you until the total penalty and fees have been paid. In other words, remember, we are free soul on this earth, free will. The wording is there. The wording is there is that they're trying to give you an option to opt out from the DNV of licensing. Because as a private person, you don't really need a driver license or a license plate or an insurance on your vehicle, provided that you're going to be following the land of the law, which is not to harm anybody, respect and abide by your own rules. To opt out from the DMV as a private person, you had to surrender your license plate and write a letter to them that I no longer want to be registered into your system. Once you put this private license plate on your vehicle, nobody will now be able to touch you because you're no longer in the system. Yes, if you are driving for commercial use or for business, yes, then you need to register your vehicle because you're doing a business with the service industries like them. But if you're operating your vehicle privately, you're going from one point to the next, delivering your own family, you are traveling for pleasure, not driving commercial. There's a difference. So think of it this way. Every time you encounter the law, think of it, the words that they use on those letters. You are being hijacked, coerced, threatened, liable. They lied to you. They're trying to ransom from you by asking you to pay. If you don't pay, we're going to do this. They're trying to detain you by taking your rights. When in fact, if you think about it this way, they cannot use your ID. It's based on your birth certificate. So think about it this way. Your parents didn't know any better that this is going to happen. Your parents might have given the government your rights up by applying for the birth certificate, but you, as an underage, never gave that permission for anyone to use you as a collateral for any service of the industry. So in reality, they're really violating the law of you. They are harming you in every way. If there's any charges, they should be charged for corruptions, don't you think? If you need resolution on your ticket, you need my help, send me a message and I'll send you my email and send me your information and I'll write you a nice letter. Welcome to 101 Awakening. So again, this is just for entertainment purposes only. You resonate to the messages or not. It's up to you to believe it or not.